Well, you don't have to read everything. At the end of the meeting, I got some information. Kara, I want to thank you for doing the minutes to the last meeting, and I believe Kara sent them out, and if not, Lisa sent them out too. So everybody should have the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the November minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the November 2023 meetings.
Second. And second by Jim Simmons. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes have been approved for November. All right. welcome introductions. We don't have any visitors today. So we don't have really any citizen input. Let's move on to Ken. Start updating.
Okay, start old business, start with community park. Talked to the contractors a little bit this week. Tentatively, the bathrooms were supposed to be delivered Monday. They're not gonna be delivered till Thursday, so. With that, they were concerned briefly to, get the bathrooms delivered. There were some low hanging, limbs that we printed out today, so it'll give room. For the 14-foot clearance they needed. So Thursday should be the day for that. And also they're supposed to switch the water over to the new line, get the A-frame going this week as well, which is great. I don't know if you know, there was a couple leaks we fixed over the years. And about a month ago, we developed another leak over by the covered area. And so it's good timing on this project. Get that old galvanized line out of there. So
And the A-frame, your time's the A-frame up on the hill.
A-frame.
The Boy Scout?
Yeah,
Scout.
exactly. So they're kind of working on over there to get their line in, so they'll be switching over pretty soon here and legal stuff. So
And is that both bathrooms will be in? Are they gonna?
both bathrooms supposed to be delivered, I understand. And they got all the pads down there and all the pipes sticking out where they should be, so when they come, they just set the whole thing right on it. And then from there, it's a matter of detailing it out, getting the slab in front and stuff like that, so. It's coming, I'm excited.
Do we have a camera ready to be placed to make sure we catch the graffiti can?
That'll be the next thing to talk about, yeah, I don't worry about stuff like that.
Right.
I do like the pre-shot bathrooms, that whole thing.
We love them as far as the maintenance level, so to be honest with you. Like transit is one of those, timber is one of those. They're so easy to clean. The maintenance room everything is just made for maintenance, and if you ever have to clean them 3 or 4 times a week, you really appreciate them. And it's just everything from the drainage, to flow everything down to the common drain in the middle. Just little details like that. It's just a time saver. And you feel like you do a better job. Our worst restroom was community. We didn't have hot water there. And in turn, it was one of the worst ones too, as far as use in the summer. So it was kind of so I'm glad to see that that's being improved. Be able to clean those really good. Yeah.
Good.
Mhm.
Good.
All right, more questions on that one? I'll go to Auburn Farms and still talking to Jerry and Jeff briefly about that. We're still trying to get someone to do a design on that. We're just trying to get somebody to do that. We had a couple of people that came back and said, no, it's not in our wheelhouse. We need a designated architect that has playground experience. And so we're in the hunt. We're trying to get somebody.
HHRK isn't doing anything?
Well, that's a good question. I asked Jerry about that because what I saw in Jeff's desk was more of like the Pat Sissel architect type thing. So I haven't heard the check. I'll double check on that.
I think he was still hoping
Okay,
to have HHBR.
okay. I haven't heard about it back when they met personally. That's all I have on Auburn Farms. Legacy Park. Still looking at bids for that slab. We've had one come in, but we're trying to get a few more just be. So it's a slow build. They're trying to get it. And Maple Street Park, as far as I know, I just see some notes on Jeff's desk about getting closer to summer, turning off the sprinklers, getting the prep for I think we have a date surgery. We're kind of holding the company, it's holding like a month so that then when that time comes, we'll get the water off, make sure everything's right for them, so it's not super wet after that.
And we've got a date that we want to start by. He's waiting for Field Trip to give them a design. He's waiting on the design. So Steve Corey is working on that. And their design people are also HHPR. So that's who's gonna put the design together, I guess, so.
Okay, tree bench program, and everything you want to add to that, so, okay. The new business. I haven't looked at those very much at all, to be honest with you. So, let's get a key review.
Okay, so. Last week or the week before, I sent everybody. The current. CIP that we got from the city. This is. The former city administrators. Staff report, or I guess, project report that he put together while he was here. And then I also sent our priority list that we put together from the master plan. And ours and his, you know, pretty much, they correlate pretty well together. And then I think that's what the CIP was based on, so. I was just looking for some suggestions. You know, as to, we've got, I mean, we do have a bit on our plate for 2024. We have community park this year. We do have Auburn Farms, hopefully 2024. The outdoor fitness court 2024. Maple Street Park 2024. So, you know, those 4 projects, you know, are gonna be time things up, but I don't want, you know, I wanna be able to kind of forecast out, even if we don't start, we can start talking about it, and we can start maybe, you know, hiring a landscape architect. Say, for instance, we decide, oh, well, let's look at Maple Street Park. Or not Maple Street, let's look at Wade Park. And maybe we would need to hire a landscape architect to do a master plan of that park. You know, and that's not involving our, I mean, it would be maybe in discussion phase, but that would be somebody coming in and saying, what would you like to see? This is what we need to do. We might need to remove some trees. We might need to, you know, rip up, you know, it's like, what do we vision that this might be? And that might be another, it would be a big community meeting probably. I mean, getting involvement. So that's a big, that would be a big project to undertake, and it won't be starting. We can begin discussions in 24. You may go into 25. You may not start anything till 26. I don't know, but anyways, just my kind of throwing that out there.
Can I comment?
You can.
I can. I think it was roughly 8 years ago, maybe 7, that I chaired the first committee for dog park. And it went nowhere, and there were so many politics hitting the ground, and the city was in turmoil about police people getting fired, and et cetera. But it seems to me that in this year, the immediate year of 2024, it's inconceivable that we come in and complete agreement and fun, et cetera, in the dog park. But I would like to suggest that there be some time allocated during this year to sort of get a handle on it. We have 50% of the homes in this town have dogs. Not all of them want to use a dog park. But I think that for this committee to work effectively on whether or not, when, whether, how, what do we think about how a dog park would or would not serve the community. And I'd like to have that on the table for discussion, not because we can do any funding or designing this year, probably, but because it keeps getting lost in the other more athletic or school oriented or competition oriented activity. And I think this is the time to sort of say, well, let's see if we can do some work. I can get you all the history that you want about it, but let's at least get that on the table so that maybe we can make a agreeable effort.
Well, I know that Jerry has talked about with, in conjunction with the Walnut Street bypass from the, industrial park, that's gonna come back out, that there's some plots of land that we will own in that area that would be conducive to the
Yes.
dog park. And again, that's getting away out of neighborhoods, and I think absolutely, I would totally support something like that. But as that gets closer to fruition, we can start looking at that, but.
And we still have the off leash at Malala State Park and, they use that territorial road. But as far as an enclosed dog park, that may be the solution. Go ahead.
So not to put a damper on your parade, but what floors me the most is that since some counselors were removed and quit, and this dog park kind of went under the rug, we haven't heard a thing about it.
Right.
So to me, if
Well,
it was,
except it's on,
no, I know, but to me, if it was that big a deal, and I'm not against it, I'm not against anything. But if it was that big a deal in this town, I guarantee you would have people, social media, and now Facebook, in our meetings here, we had more people show up for Auburn Farms, which was great.
Yeah, so
Now, if we had 10 people here every meeting saying, we're still here for the dog park, but when we were fighting for that to begin with, where were the dog park people?
well, I don't know, but they were sure all over me.
Well, then have them come here and pump their chest out. I wanna hear it.
I think, a location is key, and I
Yeah.
think Jerry has a location that is worth talking about, and we own the land. And, that's where we should, I think we should, give that consideration.
Yeah.
And not, get in the weeds about it and start inviting all the dog park people.
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm suggesting.
What
something here.
should really scare those people is that mystery dog illness. That
Right.
basically started at
Which is a reason why.
dog parks, facilities. That, I wouldn't take my dog.
And the good news is that that's happening now, and we're not trying to do
Yeah.
a dog park now.
Right,
That'll get resolved. Like every now and then I take my dog with some reluctance because she's not necessarily bonded enough to stay out of the traffic, but take my dog out to Wayside. Where there are lots of people out there with cars and dogs that we're chasing frisbees all the way out. But that crowd is really, really interested in this topic. And because it doesn't take very much thinking for a dog to decide they're gonna go for two across the highway, et cetera. So I don't wanna overstate it. I just wanna say, let's open the door
Mhm.
for this committee to discuss it. It does not have to be in competition with bulkhead
Right.
parks.
and Lisa has it on the minutes, and it is on the CIP,
That's what I noticed.
it's
It's still.
fairly high up there, so
It's not.
it's still under consideration.
I do feel like it's important though to get public input because dog parks, enclosed dog parks are somewhat controversial. Because of the disease thing
Yep.
and because dogs act weird sometimes when they're in enclosed space rather than out in the open. And so, just because you have a dog doesn't mean you're gonna go to a dog park or an enclosed dog park. So I think that we really need to have a better handle on exactly how many people are interested in that, what kind of, what my experience with dog parks is the same people go all the time. If you go to the same time, you will see for the most part, the same people every time you go. And it's as much social for the people as it is for the dogs. And I think it's great. I mean, if you want this dog park, I think that's great. But they're not, just because you have a dog you can't assume that they would want it fenced off.
I think it's more for the people that really is the dog. That, they go there with their coffee. They
Yep.
stand and talk and then
Yep.
let their dogs run.
No, it's good social stuff. I think one of the things we could do is and I'd be happy to take the lead on getting, if we can, 2 or 3 representatives from towns that are not Portland and find people who have dog parks, that is, say, people who stood up for, fought for, and have dog parks and have the use. I would say like Oswego's at the head of that list, they've got a couple of good things. So I just, no, all I want to do is get it on for a table for occasional discussion, because it's too easy to say. I think there's a disease problem, or people don't really want it. What I want is to find out whether our community wants it.
A lot of the veterinarians and a lot of the dog trainers aren't advocates.
I just did a poll, because I knew you thought that. I did a poll of 4 veterinarians. It was not exactly scientific information or study, research. Yeah. But there are several views. I think we just need to get our personal, either my personal enthusiasm or Kara's concern as part of the input, but I think we need to be gathering, talking philosophy thereof, getting real information. Because I was in Wilsonville when they did their first major dog park. I lived there. And it took about as long as we've been taking to get started.
It's on the table and it'll be part of the
Thank you,
discussion.
that's all. I don't want to call it.
Yeah.
Parks are for everyone. Everyone should have their needs met, and I think we can do that.
So the dog park was one. Anybody else who wanted that?
He's had it with us.
I've had it.
Anybody else have any ideas of where?
But one idea is I admonish everybody to put a date on top of this, because I finally could throw away all the predecessors of them that I've got in my files. This is 12/18/23.
There we go.
Is it Ivy Ridge? Is that what the
Ivy Ridge is the
one over by,
New one.
like behind Hope? There's some property over there that's a park, right? And that's a neighborhood park.
That's right.
Whether that should be started here soon. Or at least the talking, because that usually takes a while. We've seen that a lot of times.
Takes a bit. Ivy Ridge would be, I mean, it would be good, I think. I mean, it's another one of those locations we talked about, just making it a green space for now. Putting the walkways in and just putting a green space in and not putting any facilities, I guess, in there or anything like, playground equipment. Is something that, have you guys talked about Ivy Ridge at all?
Not as far as development, just worry about maintaining and spread the blackberries along the paths and trying to keep those from approaching the fall, since it's a good time to treat those. And we're just kind of going through now, just maintaining, make sure the path is clear.
What was ever done, because there was a lot of discussion about putting in utilities, well, was that ever done?
Until,
Like
Well,
running water and sewer lines?
I know a sewer line is sticking up, there's like 2 patches of land.
Mhm.
The smaller one closer to the path has nothing that I know of, but the bigger one towards the road did have a stub out for a sewer, as I believe is for future. I think there is.
Okay.
At least
Ryan, do you know as far as planning?
I thought Jerry and the owner of the developer couldn't come to an agreement. That's what I thought too.
Because we remember we went over there and we talked with them, and CanVX was for $240,000 was gonna grade it out, put in the utilities, just leave them there, but get everything ready to go and then seed it and have it prepped and ready to go. And council shut us down before Councilor Davis.
For money reasons or money reasons or?
No, it was just, I don't know, too fast, too quick, and
I don't know if I can quickly voice my opinion on something really quick, but Wade Park, I just, as a maintenance thing, I just see we're getting more and more events at that park. I mean, a lot, we even up right after light of tonight, we had an event there too. It's like that's a new one. Just out of my head, there's probably at least 5 or 6 between bridging cultures and all the holiday events. I just kind of like to see maybe even small stuff like trash cans, benches. If we're gonna have site summary, then maybe more bench there. Things like that could be talked about, just to make it a little more It's just what the public tells me, so I kind of, think that makes sense, but, bathroom is, it's 20 years old, and it could be. That could be
The new
upgraded
bathroom
big
at
time.
Wade Park is
It's
20
a
years
bathroom
old.
that doesn't have any vents in it. All our other bathroom have vents, so it's a tough one to, you clean it, it doesn't smell clean, I mean, little things that I see. So, it's showing its age, but it's used a lot.
You know, looking at the vision that we put together. In the 1 to 3 year short terms, in Auburn Farms was on there, we're working on it. Completing Maple Street Park, that's on there, we're working on it. Envisioning a new Wade Park was number 3, and I think looking at Wade Park and maybe getting with a landscape architect and doing a master plan for Wade Park would be something that, you know, start a discussion on. I think that would be.
It's probably been said in the past, it might be tough to go with the public too, but, with the ice storm, we did lose a few trees on the perimeter. And it kind of gives you an idea on Third at least, across from the Andrews building, I believe there's. A little more open there, and I know it's been probably brought up in the past, but it'd be cool to take out the parking strips. And just do maybe cement or stamped concrete and have all the vendors. The bullards would still be there for power, but it'd be all set up for vendors to come in and just pop their tent or whatever and plug right in. Rather than having them on the grass or on the street. It'll create more flow, I think, especially on the 4th of July, it gets really crowded.
Well, that would hopefully come out in the vision.
It's just, yeah, it's little things I see.
One of the other things on their number 4 was acquiring additional parkland, and we're kind of trying to work on that right now. So, and then number 5 was dog park. So I think you know, dog park, Wade Park, Ivy Ridge was on our list, in the 4 to 6 year, midterm goals. Develop Ivy Ridge. So I mean, this was put together in 2022, so 1 to 3 years, we're looking out at 2025, 2025, 2026, so. I think those, you know, are pretty reasonable. You know, to look at. Continuing the Emerald Necklace. Doing some work on the swim center, I know that they're talking about doing that. Extend the park's maintenance fee, we've already done that. But. So. I think we're following the plan fairly well.
And this amount of activity going on, it's particularly in parks. I have asked the question before, but apparently didn't ask it very well. But how are we doing for the general staffing picture? Are you having people in staff? You're being seriously overloaded? Do you have to juggle stuff? What's the picture of how staff is staffed to do the jobs that you have to do?
Yeah, that's a challenge. Obviously, we always could use more and be able to do more things that we want to do. So it is a challenge to pick what's most important, maybe, in a consensus. I just heard as far as the economy kind of taking a turn, and so we really don't want to hire somebody right now and turn around and lay them off. So we're kind of doing that as a sacrifice. Hopefully that'll save money.
But you're not having to use heavy overtimes and.
No, the only overtime would be for the events. Yeah, we have an event like most events would happen on a weekend. So like Light of the Night was one that we definitely have to have overtime the next day to pick up all the trash for the next event that's coming in. Very minimal, it's either me or a couple guys, but no. Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to get things done then.
We don't see any burnout happening because people are overtime overloaded.
Yeah, no, everybody's got a good crew.
Okay,
Yeah. Kind of a good,
happy talk.
happy folks so far, yeah.
And I think you have, on the books are able to, I mean, 1.5 people.
Yeah, and I don't think the
Okay.
master plan was saying 3 would be ideal, but you know, wishful thinking there, but, yeah.
1.5 people says it's this or this.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well, in that half, we were, you know, yeah. Yeah. So, but that's on hold, just like you said, because of the downturn in the economy. So,
And we do have an net outflow of citizens, right? We're losing more than we're gaining in population.
oh, really, yeah, I haven't heard officially.
There was, I don't remember where I read it. I don't know,
I think we're in a slight decrease right now, yeah.
yeah,
In Candy,
slight increase in Canada. I can't remember where I read the statistics, but somewhere.
Um, does anybody else have any thoughts before we move on?
how will we present this information? Does the council want this information or does it go to parks, like to Jerry, to incorporate into the budget? And that's the timing we have. Yes, if we're going to be looking at an additional project or two, or
Well, I think what, yeah, I think we need to talk with Jerry or whatever. I mean, we've got some ideas. Dog park, you know, the Wade Park and Ivy Ridge and find out, you know, from their standpoint, before we take it to have Jim present it. We've got enough for Jim to present it as it is right now, so. And I'm gonna have, if everybody can stick around as we get to the end, I wanna have Ken show something that was presented to Jerry, and then he showed it to me, which is another. It would be a great project for the hot pits. And it would become a destination point for a lot of folks. And when we present it, you'll get this pedal park. They're gonna be building this, American Ramp Company is gonna be putting one in Sandy in 2024. And I have some pictures of it. I could email you the information once we get it, but I'll have Ken maybe put it up on the screen, and it's a 3.5 minute video. That's pretty cool. Anybody else have anything?
Well, Jim, have you got anything for us?
That's-
There's a lot of,
Well,
you're not ready for that.
wait a minute, not ready. I wanna hear Brian up first.
Oh, we can't.
And see if Brian has anything to tell.
Not really, except for just a plug for the comprehensive plan. We're gearing up for a lot more events in the new year, so, for those of you that were at the last summit, we had like 140 people. It was standing room only. Got lots of really good input, but we're gonna have another one for people who couldn't go, or there wasn't room at the tables. So I think it's probably gonna be January 24th, but we're gonna confirm that. And so that we have room for more people, we're gonna do it at Baker Prairie Middle School in the cafeteria. So that should be good, because they have like 30 tables instead of 8 or 9 like we had at the police station.
you think that was January, is that?
I think it's January 24th, but I can send you a confirmation.
I just thought it was.
And once the little invitation is finalized, I'll send it to everyone here.
Okay.
The only thing that I thought of, just more random, is Mark's Place, which is the big subdivision at the south side of town along the bluff of the Molalla River. They have come back and created sub phases. So there's a potential for, you know, because every phase of it has a piece of the Emerald Necklace Trail. Though there's a chance that the easternmost portions of it will be just delayed a little bit. There was always going to be an eastward progression, because the first phase is closest to South Ivy, and they're gradually building for them, but just it's still going to be the same number of houses, the same design, everything is just being split into phases. I think because of the economy, they wanna, phase it just in case the housing slows down.
As that continues or as that gets built out or whatever, do you map that out so that, you know, you can see where the emerald necklace is?
No, you and I have talked about that. I still wanna do that. We don't have like a one map that shows the bits and pieces of the emerald necklace that we've built so far, but I still wanna do that.
The piece next to Ivy. That goes to the river that is not sold.
Right.
Isn't that part of the Emerald Nexus, what they like eventually?
Conceptually,
But it's gonna have to come back up this way and then go back, correct?
yeah, and it's always surprised me that no one's mentioned that, and so the last few times Dawn and Jerry and I have sat down and talked about Emerald Necklace and trails and stuff, I've brought that up, because, yeah, I think you either have to bring people way back towards town and then horseshoe back
Yeah.
around, or have a bridge across it or something, because it is an incline. So does everyone know what we're talking about? So the Emerald Necklace is along the bluff on the south side of town, but South Ivy, before it goes over the river, it goes down a big incline. And so if you have the two pieces of that trail pop out on either side of Ivy, it does not make sense for people, especially kids crossing there.
Right.
So in the long term, there's gonna have to be some solution, whether that's wrapping up or.
See, if you
bridging
could get
over.
that piece of property next, which we're never gonna get, I mean. You and I will never, and we'll never see that get sold, because I know the fellow that owns it, and they're. So, but if we could get that, then you could build the sky bridge over that, which would be cool. And then continue it over, but now you're gonna have to come back. Have a pedestrian crossing or something, and then go and then cut back.
Yeah,
Crossing.
yeah, for sure.
They'd have to go back, they'd come back towards town, cross over into that new subdivision then?
Yes.
Cause you wouldn't want an at-grade crossing down by the bridge, people are going too fast.
It's not. Not a good, yeah, so visibility is poor. Okay,
But that's all I have for now.
that's it. Jim, do you have anything for us?
Yeah,
Oh, good.
How many new counselors do you have? Two? Or about that?
one. Yeah, that's on my report. The city council position is open until the end of this month, and then we do interviews on the 10th. Is what's slated so far. Last time I checked, we only had one application, but
Wow.
it typically will come in by the end of the month. But then we'll do the interviews. You know, as far as projects go, you know, yeah, I would say that we send your list to Jerry. And then Jerry will prioritize that in the budget process to match up the budget process. And present that as far as budget funding and stuff like that. And then, of course, to the city administrator, and then eventually it will get to the council in regards to the recommendations coming forward. Is a good way to work that.
Yeah.
So Cogeo in athletic fields, we had another meeting with city staff. I really appreciate city staff and city administrator and everybody getting together. I mean, we had a good group of staff from the city meeting with Patrick Sampson again. Patrick gave a report, which I can't really go into detail on, other than it was very positive in regards to the possibility of securing some land for the athletic field complex. And so staff's taking that back and working that over, and then gonna make some recommendations to the council sometime in January, an executive session. In regards to what does that look like, but kind of turning it back over to staff to make some recommendations back to the city council. But I can say that it's looking very good at this point, so let's just keep our fingers crossed that we can figure out how to make that work. Because that will be big for the community and for the businesses in town to try to secure that. So, more to come on that. We should hear more about that towards the beginning of January as an executive session. And recommendations from the city administrator and staff. Let's see, any questions on that? I mean, there's not a lot I can say because it's an executive session type thing. And anytime we talk about property, we have to be pretty quiet about it. So people don't find out where it's at, somebody shoots it down or offers more money for it or whatever. So we have to be careful about that. Vicky Pounds was there, who's the president of Cogeal, and Patrick Sampson, and like I said, a lot of city staff were there as well, so it was good. Let's see, the city administrator, of course, has the contract's been signed for the city administrator, Eileen signed, so that's done. The swim center, we discussed the swim center and in regards to not a lot of money there to do a lot of work, means that there's, they anticipate a lot of leaks under the building and that it could take up to $500,000 just to repair the leaks that are under the building potentially and do some work on the locker rooms and shower rooms and stuff like that are leaking. I think that we as citizens need to really start thinking about a new aquatic center further down line, I mean, continuing to put a bandage on that old building. It doesn't meet a lot of the ADA requirements, it doesn't meet locker room type of security for kids and things like that. There's a lot of things it just doesn't meet and there's just no room to do it, so I think we, down the line, we need to be, whether or not eventually if we do any kind of parks bond or anything like that, that needs to be included. I think that would be fairly strong support from citizens to try to support a new aquatic center as we move forward.
It's distinct from spending a lot of money on doing this one and trying to make this one better.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of getting a new one, we all go through the thousand with that.
Just put a band in that.
Could
I
you,
don't wanna be
no,
drowned.
this is maybe just a fantasy question, but the Cogeal property, would there be room to put a new aquatic center there?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. I can't really answer that.
No, I just,
Yeah, Patrick.
yeah, throw it out.
Yeah, Patrick could.
Be a nice way to wrap it all in one.
Oh, it sure would.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. But ideally is if we could get that Ackerman complex.
Yeah.
And turn it into a community center and then put a new aquatic center at the Ackerman complex and.
The location's the best.
Yeah, move the adult center into the Ackerman complex and make the adult center building into a teen center or something like that. So kids have a place to go, teens have a place to go. Ideally, that would be a good plan, but that would always come back to this committee anyway, as we move forward with that. We talked about the vacancy for city council. Tracy's now the chair of the Urban Renewal Agency, which is the city council. Use wear a different hat. Christmas activities, boy, it's been busy and that's off to Public Works and the job they did at Wade Park and the decoration at Wade Park looks really, really good. They did an outstanding job. And then that started to light up the night parade. Trying to get Santa up onto the stage was a challenge. To say the least, I think this is the last year for this Santa. I'm just glad we didn't have to do CPR on Santa.
We need a younger version.
That would have been rather traumatic to the kids. Then the next morning, they had the Christmas in the park, a lot of vendors set up. Same morning, they had breakfast with Santa down at the fairgrounds for families and they bring them in and feed them breakfast and Santa's there and stuff like that. So that was cool. And then the Foursquare Church had their big event, their live nativity scene at the Foursquare Church, and that turned out really, really well. The council retreat is scheduled for February the 16th, where we have the consultant come in and meet with us beforehand, and then they go through the council priorities and things like that. So any items that you want me to represent from Parks and Rec at that council retreat are gonna be huge, because, you know, we start setting priorities for the year and for the city administrator and stuff, so. I sure would like to take your guys' project list and make sure those are represented at that council retreat. But that's it, other than I really hope everybody has a really happy and blessed holiday season, safe. Yeah.
Do you sense that there's a fair amount of enthusiasm still among the counselors and for Parks and Rec?
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's true. Well, I have in front of me a 2022, where we got all of them come do it right now stuff. I don't know if you can see it. This is a 2022, and in yellow, I put all the things that were going on. We're doing this right now, et cetera. We really have the market cornered on this one.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
And we want them to those because it's really important. to
Oh,
have
yeah.
good parks.
No, I haven't heard any objections from any of the counselors in regards to the.
No matter how much we spend.
It's gotta be within budget.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, if we get that, any more bond money or whatever, I've got another project. that I'd Like to,
oh, yeah.
a possibility I would like to throw on the table if we can. We're done now.
Okay,
If
back
we
in
can-
this and then we
Yeah.
can. see if we can bring that
Should
up.
I adjourn now before we start that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.